The moment you get the itch to cultivate plants that aren't native to your local area, your first thought is often to go vertical. Staring at the snow blanketing the earth, you figure you must erect some kind of shelter to battle the harsh conditions. I witness this ritual annually. Folks head to massive home improvement chains and snag those cheap plastic hoop houses. Or they assemble a skeleton from PVC tubing and drape it with pricey sheeting. Next up is the heating ordeal. You string extension cords over damp lawns for dozens or hundreds of yards, hooking up heaters or lamps in a frantic bid to nudge the inside temp above freezing. Evenings find you glued to weather apps, fretting over outages or gusts that might shred the covering. You're clashing head-on with winter, and winter typically prevails. It's a draining path to producing crops. The issue isn't your commitment. It's waging war on the surface amid the fiercest weather. Erecting anything atop frozen soil encases your greenery in chilly air from every direction. Every bit of warmth costs you dearly. That's no setup. It's perpetual crisis mode. I followed that route for years, burning through electricity bills that dwarfed the harvest's value. Change hit only when I quit obsessing over the atmosphere and focused on the soil instead. We view the ground as frigid since the top layer ices over, but that's merely the outer layer. Deeper in, the planet acts like a heat reservoir. It retains summer's warmth well into snowfall season. Overlooking that storage means unnecessary toil. Imagine skipping heaters altogether. Picture nurturing figs or citrus in the dead of January. No cords required. My fix ran me just $30 plus elbow grease, not a fortune. It's no modern gadget. It's an ancient technique rooted in basic principles. To beat the freeze, skip taller barriers. Excavate instead. This leverages the globe's thermal mass over futile air-warming efforts. It's discreet, neighbor-proof, and reshapes your winter mindset. I dub it a sun trap pit, also known as a pit greenhouse or wallapini in some communities. Labels fade next to the science. The key insight: soil underfoot isn't mere foundation material, but a vast heat bank fueled all summer. A typical above-ground greenhouse. It's like pitching a tarp inside an icebox, a flimsy barrier against gales and deep freezes. Digging plunges you into stability. Across much of the U.S., past the frost line, around 3 or 4 feet down, dirt holds steady at about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Yearly, blizzard or scorcher be damned. That 50-degree foundation powers everything. Keeping a lemon alive in February from 50 degrees beats clawing back from -10 degrees any day. The sun just needs to finish the job, not start from scratch. Burying the setup lets Earth's bulk buffer extremes. Dirt sides soak daytime rays and radiate them back overnight as cools set in, like a masonry fireplace holding glowpost flame. You swap airy chaos for earthen steadiness. The kicker? Your main resource is gratis. The soil you stand on. When I share building a paradise for $30, skeptics think I foraged scraps. Truth is, 90% is the excavation. The cash bought only the glazing, that sunlight portal. Rest is design and sweat. Skip foundations, treated lumber walls, or any heat rig. Craft a winter-defying nook. Unlike hoop houses guzzling power bills, the pit demands zilch post-dig. It hums silently, thriving on presence alone. You befriend the chill, ditching air dread for soil faith. Time to grab that shovel. Toughest phase, sure, but a one-time deal. You're not slapping up something fleeting. You're carving a lasting landscape gem. Don't go big on your initial try. Skip the grand cathedral idea. Begin with a simple 4 feet by 8 feet base. The reason? Common glazing options like recycled sliding glass doors or polycarbonate panels typically match those sizes. Fit the excavation to match your cover, not vice versa. Excavate at minimum 3 to 4 feet deep. No exceptions. Stopping at 2 feet keeps you in the frost layer. Go low enough for the pit floor to reach that steady 50-degree soil we mentioned earlier. As you're shoveling, stack the soil along the north edge to form a berm. It pulls double duty, blocking fierce northern winter winds and elevating the rear wall. Make the north higher than the south for a natural incline. All that soil you're laboring with becomes prime insulation. Heap it high and tamp it firm. One rookie killer detail: moisture. Digging a pit in clay just crafts a pond, not a greenhouse. Come fall rains, it'll flood and swamp your plants. Test drainage first before planting anything. I bore a small hole at the pit's base, pour in water, and watch. No drainage within an hour. Excavate a central sump 2 feet below floor level, pack it with chunky gravel. This lets excess water escape gradually as it seeps away. Tedious, sure, but skipping it dooms the setup. You're crafting a subsurface habitat, so handle hydrology as rigorously as thermal control. With the pit shaped and drainage sorted, cap it off. This is the capture element. Here's where your $30 budget shines. Splurging on fresh double-pane greenhouse panels misses the point entirely. Hunt for freebies instead. Top pick: discarded sliding glass or shower doors. They're everywhere. I scored mine at a habitat restore for $5 each, but curbside trash yields them too. Tempered, durable, and light-passing. No glass. Twin-wall polycarbonate sheets are worth buying fresh, though job site leftovers abound. It's not merely dropping a pane over the hole. Angle matters. Winter sun hangs low, skimming the southern horizon. Flat glass like a skylight. Rays glance off uselessly. You need penetration, not bounce back. Angle the glazing southward. That's why we bermed the north earlier. Prop the frame's top on that rise, bottom at ground level for tilt. Target noon sun in December. No fancy tools required. Eye the midday winter position and point your cover there. It often hits a sharp 45 degrees or more, varying by location. This pitch maximizes benefits. Channels sunlight straight to the rear wall like a chute and flings off snow loads to avoid shading or shattering. Last touch, sealing. Perfect glass at ideal tilt fails if drafts sneak under the frame, bleeding heat fast. I load edges with rocks or sandbags where it kisses the soil. Looks rough? Fine, as long as it's wind-tight. Think cold frame, but geothermal powered. Secure that glazing, and your solar trap is done. Sunlight streams in, warms the dark earth below, and the soil plus glass combo locks it in. Daytime sun fuels it, but nighttime decides victory. Harsh truth on glass and polycarbonate, lousy at retaining heat. They're built for transmission, not retention. A vintage single-pane rates R value of barely 1. Sunset hits and stored soil warmth races out to the icy sky. Bare glass overnight. Physics betrays you. Without covering that glass, the warmth stored in the pit escapes directly through the pane, and by morning, the inside temp matches the frigid outdoor air. Your lemon tree ends up frozen solid, and all your effort goes down the drain. You've got to insulate the setup each night. It's that straightforward. As dusk settles in, I head out with a pile of insulating materials. Nothing fancy required. I've grabbed worn wool blankets, scraps of rigid foam from job sites, or even leaf bags. The idea is to cap the glazing with something thick to hold in the rising earth heat, like slapping a hat over a chimney flue. I drape the insulation across the glass, then secure a tarp on top to block any dampness. The whole process, just 2 minutes. That quick cover-up spells the difference between a brutal freeze and a snug 50 degrees within the shrouded pit after dark. The ground steadily gives off the day's absorbed heat, and the cover traps it precisely where the plants can use it. But cold isn't the only threat. Excess heat poses a risk too. Counterintuitive in January, yet a bright winter sun with 20 degrees outside air can turn that enclosed space into an oven, hitting 90 or 100 degrees if ignored. Those wild temperature swings jolt the plants, rousing them prematurely or frying their foliage. You're the climate controller here. On sunny, crisp winter days, lift the cover slightly, an inch or two to vent the buildup. Aim for a consistent, uneventful environment, not wild ups and downs. Keep it chilly enough for dormancy or sluggish growth, yet mild enough to dodge freezes. It turns into a routine, tied to the daily forecast. Vent it open over morning coffee. Seal it tight before supper. With the enclosure now retaining warmth, let's discuss suitable inhabitants. No way you're harvesting bananas from a Michigan pit sans extra heating. That undermines the passive design entirely. Stay practical about this niche. It's a chilly, humid refuge, not a steamy jungle. Forget explosive January growth. Focus on enduring winter and jumping ahead come spring. Target species tough enough for chilly evenings but shielded from deep frosts. For me, the fig tree rules the sun pit supreme. Figs are tough as nails, primed for winter dormancy by dropping leaves and hunkering down. In open ground, killer cold cuts them to stumps, forcing summer recovery on wood over fruit. Here, roots bask in 50-degree soil, branches spared lethal ice. They resemble bare twigs by December, but by February, snowdrifts lingering outdoors, buds burst forth. While neighbors sow peas, your fig sports a lush crown with fruit forming. Citrus shines next, especially hardier types like Meyer lemons or kumquats. Unlike figs, they retain foliage, relying on the angled glass's captured light. They linger green and content in the pit amid a bleak exterior. Growth stalls in peak gloom, but they persist, clutching their fruit. Success with pit citrus demands restraint, no pushing blooms. Just sustain a low idle till daylight stretches. The top pitfall after planting: overwatering. Beneath the lid, evaporation barely happens. No breeze parches the soil, no rays scorch it dry. Routine summer drenching rots roots fast. I test by plunging a finger inches deep. If it's cool and damp at all, I skip it. Deep winter, maybe once every 6 weeks. Aim for vibrant, absorbent soil, not a soggy mess. This subdued space calls for minimal intervention but sharp vigilance. Less fuss, more watching. True payoff transcends grocery savings. Picture a blustery February Tuesday. Earth locked in iron-hard freeze. You sweep snow from the glass, lift the cover, and a burst of steamy, earthy air laced with greenery wafts up. Pluck a ripe fig or Meyer lemon, nurtured while your yard slumbered. That first bite, pure bottled sunshine. Its flavor stands apart from store-bought produce since it didn't rumble 2,000 miles in a truck. Instead, it's been waiting patiently in your own backyard for that perfect moment. That realization shifts your perspective on supermarkets forever. Suddenly, you're a bit freer from relying on fragile supply lines. No electricity grid was required to sustain that tree through the cold. No heating system either. All it took was the Earth's natural thermal mass, captured beneath a salvaged pane of glass. A subtle sense of assurance emerges from this discovery. It's less about stockpiling supplies or bracing for catastrophe, and more about crafting a resilient setup that hums along independently. You're swapping worry for reliability. Winter transforms from a foe to battle into merely one more phase of the year to handle wisely. No need to overhaul your whole yard this weekend. Skip the excavator rental or hauling in lumber by the truckful. Here's my suggestion. Begin modestly. Experiment with a single trial pit. Choose a sunny south-facing patch. Something like 4 feet by 4 feet will do. Excavate it thoroughly. Grab a discarded storm window, tuck in a robust plant, and monitor the steady warmth inside. Observe the snow effortlessly melting away from the pane. Should it succeed, expand with another pit come next season. For the moment, simply grab that shovel.